You alright, everyone? Back again with this time we're bonding over a bricked up window in the wall before we got to plaster the wall. So again, a little trick, little bit of dirty water with the bonding. The wall's already pre-gritted like usual. This job was nice, we could just pre-grit things beforehand. So pre-gritted, knock out your bonding, a little bit of dirty water. We're going to fill out the edges first, then start working through the middle. You're gonna need two coats. You're gonna put one on and you're gonna think, yeah, that seems fine, but it will sink back. It's quite a deep hole to fill, so usually you need two coats. Just like the plaster, you need a thick one at first and then a thin one at the end. Always scrape your edges like I'm doing there to keep it nice and clean, or the edges can dry quicker and you can have a nightmare when you're trying to go over it. There's the second one going over the top now. It's like a thin one going over the top now, thin coat. This second one, I'll add a little bit of plaster with it. So it's still going to go off quick, but it's not as grainy as bonding on its own. It's a little bit of plaster with this one. I slapped on, I'll give that 20 minutes. As you can see, it's got a little bit of dark patches on it now. Start hitting the wall. Here we go. First coat. As you can see, I've gone over the scrim first, as usual. I'll say a nice gritted wall, so this one shouldn't be too bad. Should hold back nicely for us. I like to work side to side. Everyone's different, really. And most plasterers like to work from the top corner, but I like to take it as high as I can and work side to side, and then I'll just find that top little bit. It's just a nice, easy bit at the end. That's just my personal preference for it. I can sort of stay off a ladder then for 95% of it, and just a little bit at the end, and just jump up there and get that bit on. Sometimes I don't need a ladder even if it's a short ceiling. Yep, first one going on, trying to trail it up as you go in, or keep it as nice as you can as you go in. Water if you need it. Come across the top now. Only load your trail up slightly at the top there. You don't want to load it up too much because you're going to slap it onto the coving. And you're going to want to clean the coving at the end of the day anyway, but the less cleaning you can do, the better. Like, the floor is always covered in plastic in my jobs as well. Even when I go in there and the customer always says, oh, the carpet's going, the floor's going, don't worry about it. I'll just say, no, I'm going to lay this down, because then it's just very easy for me to walk out of here and it look like I've not been here. But in the daytime, when they walk in there, it looks like a catastrophe. Everything's messy and, it's just how it is. But at the end of the day, you can just lift it all up into a pile. Granted, you've got plenty of plastic waste to get rid of, but it's rather that than it saves 90% of the cleaning. So I'm just wetting it up now, going over it with my hard and my soft trowel and my flexi trowel. Just on the first coat now. Troweling it all up nicely, get as flat as possible. Where I've done the bonding, I will be bearing in mind that will draw in slightly quicker in the centre there. So it looks slightly wetter there, because I'll pay more attention to wetting that bit, just to make sure it don't draw in too quick. But once you put the second coat on, that would have drawn in enough that it ain't going to do it anymore. The usual thing, side to side, is what I like to do. I will come up and down as well. Always good to come from all angles. Cleaning up your tools in between each pass. Not pass, each time you've loaded up your trailer a little bit and you've got a bit of gunk on it, give it a clean. Second coat, I believe now. Yes, second coat's going on now. So second coat should be thinner. First coat's thick to make it flat. The second coat is thin to make it smooth. So the second one's always nicer to put on. You can see it's going further. My trowel goes further, if that makes sense. Like the first trowel, I would need 3 or 4 strides to get across that wall. Now I'm doing it in sort of 2. It just goes on nicer, a lot nicer. And once this second trowel's on, it's like the hard work's all done, really. Once this second one's on and you've flattened it in, it's like the hard work's all done, really, and you're sort of then just waiting, brushing it in, hitting it again. Yeah, that is the hard bit of plastering, literally. Putting the first and second coat on and just getting one trowel over it, and then you're on easy street pretty much. Just wet it down, brush it in, go again. Wet it down, brush it in, go again. A little bit repetitive, but it doesn't work for everyone. Just still getting it on now, not quite on easy street yet. Bottom bit's probably the nastiest because you're on your knees. Yeah, never nice to work on your knees, that's for sure. But get done what you got to. This was just a small little wall at the end of the day, so it's not too bad at all. I'd say you shouldn't be putting much on at this point. You should be putting it on quite thin, spreading it quite far, because it should be flat from your first one. This is to make it smooth. This is to make it paintable. So yeah, I believe that's all on now. Yeah, I believe that's all on now. No, not quite. Nearly all on, in the last little bottom corner. And once the second one's on, you're laughing, really. Always take off the bottom lip. You'll find you'll have a bottom lip at the bottom there, and carpenters will hate you if you don't just run your trowel over it to make it flat at the end. Just take off all the little snots and that at the bottom. It's very much appreciated. Just a little bit of time just makes you recommended more, you know. Keep the next tray happy. Brush it in. You want to start brushing in soon. Have a little spray up. So the second's all on, spraying it up, going over it, getting nice and flat. Nice and wet on this one. Not too much pressure at this point because the plaster's wet, so you just want to be getting it flat and getting the lines out of it as much as possible. You're not going to get it perfect at this point, but it should be pretty close. It's just like anything in the building game, you make it slightly better each pass, you know, slightly better until by the end it's perfect. Obviously, we weren't happy with the top there, so I'm just going over that again. A little bit of muck in my hands, make sure it's nice. Got to be a little bit finicky around the edges, especially coving and things, because it sticks out like a sore thumb if it's rough. So make them edges nice, take your time. You can see I'm scraping the bucket there, there's barely anything left, but I don't need any, so that's cool. Just take your time at this point. You've still got time. Just take your time on the edges. Try not to dink anything else with your trowel. Clean it all up. All your tools. Nice and wet tools makes it so much easier. I just picked out a little stone or something there. You do get them sometimes, or something I picked out, hair sometimes, or a little bit of plastic from the bucket, something like that. It happens. But you can see it, so you just get it out. So just make sure I'm happy with the top now, before I hit it all again together. A little bit excessive on the top, perhaps, on this one for me. but my perhaps was rough or something. I weren't happy with it, so I was working extra hard on that top on this one for some reason. This is what happens with the plastering. You'll find every job's different. No job's the same, you know. Yeah, so the top obviously had to be filled out a bit more than usual. So we should be on the troweling up the full wall troweling up stage now, just tidying up the edges, getting any excess off, little brush down, them edges looking clean, brush them all in. Same thing on the other side. Very important at this point to get it all nice and wet on all the edges, because everything that's touching old stuff, like old walls you've plastered, will all be drying out. So the last thing you want to do is grab that and drag it into your nicely, nearly finished wall, because then you just got lines you've got to try and get rid of. It's an absolute nightmare. So that's it, just working over it all now with the trowel and the water. Just pushing quite hard at this point now. Shouldn't have barely any lines in it now or anything like that. It should be pretty much there. Obviously, all needs a triple check, so you just got to go over it a few times still at this point. A lot of builders at this point go, oh, that's done, I'm out of there, see you later. But it still needs a couple. It still needs a couple of goes, 100%. And that's the difference between a plasterer and a builder. The plasterer just a little bit more care, a little bit more cleanliness. Brushing your edges, push slightly hard. Harder than if you was painting, so just push in there, nice, keep the same pressure all along, nice and wet, as you can see on the cove in there. It's all wet in the corner, it's all brushed in. So now when I come along, it will make a beautiful finish there. Sharp lines is what we want. I'll always go along at the end with wipes along the coving and just along the door frames and things, and clean them all up, because you're never going to keep it all brand new with your trowels. It looks quite clean there, to be fair, but I'll always go around and clean it all at the end. So here's the top edges are pretty much there now. Bit of a change camera angle for you. There you go. Same process really. Brush it in, hit it again. But like I say, you want to be mixing between your titanium hard trowel and your Superflex trowel, because the titanium trowel takes off any lumps and fills any lumps. The Superflex will shine it and make it look nice, but it glides over lumps. So you can't treat the Superflex like a start to end trowel. It's not how it is. It's a middle trowel is what it is. You lay on with your hard one. Middle one is just your Superflex, and you've got to put in your hard trowel in between at some point as well, and then you're going to finish up with your hard one. If walls are ever too bad, which is quite rare, like kitchens and things where tiles have been smashed off walls, I'll sponge float the wall. I'll do another video on sponge floating on a separate time, but I'm sure quite a few of you are familiar with sponge floating. It's very much the Eden thing, very much what they're all doing at the moment, but old school is old school, isn't it? You know, trowels and water and beating it up. You know, I just think that's how I learned. So I've got all the new techniques, I've got all the speed skims, I've got all the sponges, I've got all the gear, but I just find the old school techniques the best, you know. But they do come in handy in situations, I'm not going to lie. There we go, a little finished look at the project. Thank you for looking. Appreciate you.